Okay, let's talk about what they're doing with our boy. And I think he's got Stockholm syndrome at this point because he's clearly loving it. He's all the way on board with this. But MJF, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the guy that is theoretically supposed to be carrying the money matches in the main event of the pay-per-views, along with CM Punk, who is, as we mentioned, MJF's the biggest star. Punk is the biggest name in the company. Biggest star has to be the world champion, but Punk's the biggest name. But does either one of them need to be doing goddamn Laurel and Hardy? And MJF is now going to, or soon, find out, I think, that you can be a victim of your excessive talent. Everything he does is good and entertaining in some kind of way, even if it's this shit that they're doing. Nobody in the world could do this any better than him. However, you'll find out that when you can do everything well, there will be more and more excuses for sales pitches for you to do stupid shit that you ain't got any business doing long term for the health of your goddamn aura, if nothing else. And as we've said, he's the people will, I would think, when he becomes a full-fledged devil again, the people will still boo him because they know they're supposed to and they appreciate everything he does, so they're going to work with him. But he's rapidly ingratiating himself in a way that people really had some fucking dislike, if grudging respect for what he was doing before. But now he's just going to, I don't know. And it's not even MJF and Adam Cole interacting with each other in an entertaining and funny way that you could believe is organic between the two of them, but it's obviously a 80s buddy movie takeoff shot like that with scripting and supporting cast and multiple camera angles, and they're just doing this to pull our puds. And I don't think, as legitimately believable as he is, he ought to be involved in silliness that's also obviously fake. Talk to me and then we'll talk about the details.
I commend your use of the word pud on a wrestling podcast in 2023. Are we talking about the buddy segment or the match? I'm not even sure.
Well, the buddy segment is what came first, and then the match was shortly to follow.
I'll save my match comments for my match comments. I guess with the buddy stuff, look, it's not for me. And I agree with what you said before. MJF's really talented. If there was like an MJF 30-minute show with 22 minutes with commercials, just him doing skits or whatever, I would watch it. I'd probably like it if it's good. But in the middle of the wrestling show, I'm not a big fan of these things. Now, again, I'm not a big fan of it. This is one of those things that the AEW fans are reacting to. Every week, it's getting the highest number in the key demo. Every week, the rating for the MJF Cole segment is typically the highest of the show. I got to double check this week because they did have a big match that went close to an hour or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of this. Now, I think also this is...
Let me ask you just an editor's note.
Yeah.
MJF was the highest rated segment of the show a lot of times before he was doing this, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
So, okay, continue.
Well, the other thing is, I think clearly, like you said, these guys are having a good time with it. And AEW is about nothing if not wrestlers having a good time doing things. So when you say they're talking MJF into it, I would have to think that if he's doing it, it's something he wants to do.
Well, no, that's why I said that he's got a little Stockholm syndrome because he's jumped in with both feet. And I
think this is also, this is babyface MJF, not, when Moxley and Jericho and various people wanted him to be a babyface. When you started seeing like interviews, Jericho was the most prominent one about MJF should be a babyface. It wouldn't have worked then. It's working. The babyface reactions he's getting now are different than what he was getting then, and it's more, the fans are kind of taking to him now, and I think he's kind of going with it.
Yes. and long term, because again, the money match still needs to be Punk and MJF. And nevertheless,
who says MJF has to be the heel?
Well, depends on where they have it, doesn't it? But we're just, oh my God. The point is, I liked the match they had, and we're not even talking about the match yet, but just as an example of what you were saying, there's a difference in they're going a little fucking far. I'm not saying they shouldn't do a thing where MJF and Adam Cole bond somehow and they're doing the drama with Roderick Strong, who's Adam, how can you trust this fucking guy? And we've talked about Adam Cole will look like an idiot if MJF stabs him in the back after all this. Adam Cole would probably get over better if he ends up turning heel and joining MJF. If Roddy is the MacGuffin that allows Adam Cole to turn heel and stab an old friend in the back to go with MJF, that's great. But if Roddy's the one that turns heel on Adam Cole because he's friends with, then that's insane. But I'm not saying they shouldn't do
the other option
like,
is the other option is they all join together.
Well, and then you've got, but they pretty much have to be heels to do that.
Are they heels right now?
No, they're the biggest baby faces, and here's the thing: they've come up with a team that FTR is going to have to wrestle. It might be the only team that they'll cheer over FTR, or their biggest babyface team in the whole company. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying they shouldn't do this angle in some kind, and I liked the tag team match that they had the other week where they did some basic, simple shit and popped the people, but at the same time, it wasn't blatantly phony and silliness, which this week was. And the bit in Kowloon's where MJF is taken by Adam Cole to get over his fear of eating spicy food, and then they get drunk, and MJF is telling the story over and over of slamming Big Bill like it was Andre and Hulk, and then they hit the double clothesline on a waiter. They don't really hit it. They're running at the waiter, and you see the freeze frame of the waiter's shocked expression from their viewpoint, and then see them coming, and it's a freeze and fade to black. That's fake. They didn't beat up the waiter at Kowloon. MJF is becoming one of the clowns on the show instead of the ringmaster. And that's the thing. I'm not saying they shouldn't do an angle like this. I'm saying when they do this phony, silly shit that everybody cooperated on, it just drives home into people's mind that this is something they're doing to pull our pud. And, maybe we might want to see what's going to happen, but it makes him one of the clowns instead of the fucking ringmaster, the main event guy that you don't think should be doing obviously phony shit to pull your pud. He should be pulling your pud with shit you can't tell's phony.